And we'll come onto our hands and knees. If you need to be on forearms because of your wrists, I recommend putting them on low blocks like this, okay? Otherwise, you can be on hands and just start with some cats and cows, however you want to do them. And you can feel free to move through your sacrum, through your ribs. And then let's keep our body in neutral, our torso in neutral, our spine in the middle. And now can you do that with just your low back and pelvic area, the cat and cow? So kind of like when we do on our backs when we're rocking our pelvis. So your shoulders and mid back stay the same, but you're tucking your tail under and then you're tilting your tail up. Noticing if that wants to be big or small in your body right now. Good. And now let's come forward into Sphinx pose. So you can lay your forearms down, straighten your legs out behind you. And press your pubic bone down if that feels okay on your back. Good. You can inhale and spread across your collarbones. And exhale. See how it feels to put some engagement in your lower belly? So it's like if you were on like a cold metal table, I think of like a vet table or something, and you didn't want to be on it. So your belly's like, ooh, right? Lifting your belly up. Yeah. Now, notice how that feels in your low back, especially you guys with low back issues. If that's straining it at all, you can also just be down on your belly, right? You can just be resting and feeling. Don't force yourself to do things that cause pain, please. Okay. Otherwise, we're practicing engaging and releasing. Good. And now let's come up by pressing into the elbows and drawing your knees underneath you. We're going to stretch the arms forward into puppy dog pose, letting your head come down between the arms. If you need your head to rest on a block or a blanket, you can. And imagine a straight line, or try to picture a straight line from your hips down to your knees, rather than sitting back toward heels. And just stretch the arms forward more. So you're getting this slant through your torso. Let's see, Karen, you could push your hips back a little bit. That's it. That might feel a little more stable. And if your arms bother you in this, you can try your head on this, fold your arms or bend your arms, right? So if you got shoulder injuries, let's take a couple more breaths. Good. And now let's rise back up to a tabletop position. Again, the forearms could be on those blocks. You could also pad your knees. Let's widen the shoulder blades, right? So spread them apart, protract without rounding your spine. So no rounding in the spine. And now engage your abdominal muscles, right? Drawing the ribs in. And now keeping that, could you inhale and slide your right leg back, but the toes stay on the floor? Good. And just imagine you're trying to balance like a hot cup of tea on your sacrum area. We're going to try to keep it like that. And can you feel that you're putting more weight from right shoulder and left hip? And just notice that. Imagine a diagonal line between the two. Okay. Now, another option would be to take your left fingertips forward on the floor. So you're just, again, working on your core coordination here to balance. I'm not getting the right word, but something like that. Okay. And now you could also inhale, try to lift the two limbs or just one of them, and lower them back down, tapping down and coming up. But only do that if you feel like you can maintain that hot cup of tea without spilling it, okay? So you're not lifting and opening the hip. And if you're on your forearms, you're only doing the leg. I forgot to mention that. But a couple more, you might even try to hold it if you want. Remember, not doing this with your neck, but instead doing it with your core. And now exhale, come down, bring it in, and you can go back either to puppy dog pose, or you could go back to downward dog if you want. Let your jaw go, let your neck go if you can, and breathe. All right, let's meet back up in our tabletop. Okay, so first, getting those shoulder blades protracted, right? So not rounded, there's a difference. This is rounded, right? In my upper back, this is just solid and protracted, okay? And then from here, engage the abdominals. And then can you slide that left leg back and feel that diagonal line, left shoulder to right hip. Okay, core engaged, not your neck or jaw. And then from here, if you're on your hands, you could slide that right fingertips forward, see how that feels. Keep breathing. And then if you want to try the lifts, you can try the lifts. Just keep the core as your main support, going up and down. You could even try to hold it if you want. Keep breathing. Yeah, and you can also choose to just lift the leg or just lift the arm, right? To keep another point of balance there. Good, and then coming down, let's go back either to your puppy dog or your downward dog and take a few breaths. Might move your neck around, might move your hips around. Good, now your choice, okay? We're either gonna go from child's pose, so you could be sitting back on your heels and forward, tucking the tail to a knees down plank. Okay, so knees down plank, tail is tucked. Okay, tuck that baby under. Okay, and then back to child's pose, tail tilts up as you go back. Or you could do this from downward dog. So you could go from downward dog and then exhale, tuck the tail, come forward either to knees up or knees down plank. You could do either. And then inhale, untuck, back to downward dog. Okay, so we're going to focus on this area of the pelvis. As you're going back to your child's pose or your down dog, we're inhaling and trying to untuck the tail. For downward dog, you'll need your knees bent to be able to untuck your tail for most people. And then as you come forward on the exhale into your modified plank or high plank, you're tucking the tail, right? So you're doing the two opposite things, trying to get your mind and your awareness in this area. And let me know if you have any questions. Okay, yes. Oh yeah, let's see. Do you want to do the child's pose version? Okay, so for the child's pose version, your tail goes up like this, like you're in cow pose. You're gonna sit back as far as you want to, right? And then as you exhale, you're gonna round, tuck that tail and come forward to this modified plank here. Yeah. Let's do knees down for your back. Yes, let's do that. And tuck it under a little further, but lift your belly up, lift up your hips. Yes, right there, right there. Okay, yeah, see, that's enough. You don't need the full high plank. Okay, do a couple of those, you guys. Just trying to feel the core supporting you when you come forward to your plank. Notice the difference in your sacrum and your pelvis as it's changing through the position. And then let's meet at the front of our mat. So if you're in downward dog, you can try to walk your hands and feet towards one another. If you're in child's pose, you can get onto your feet and meet us. You can use your blocks here if you want. You can bend the knees as much as you want. And just notice how your low back and your hips and the backs of your legs are feeling in a forward fold. If it doesn't feel good right on your back for you guys with back issues, just stand on up. Yeah, so just noticing, letting your neck go if you're folded. Yeah, good. Take a couple more breaths there. And then if you are folded, when you're ready, let's inhale and reach your chest forward. And exhale to bend the knees. And then inhale to rise up. And exhale, arms out and down. All right, just kind of shake it out a little bit. We're gonna grab our chairs. And so you can unfold your chair. And at first, let's just keep it next to you on the high height. That's if you need it for balance. You might not even need it for this part, and you might. And we're gonna stand on a block. So it doesn't matter which side. Stand on the block with the foot that's closest to the chair and just stand up. This is just gonna be a brief introduction to this pelvic movement we're gonna do in a moment where we're gonna be folded, but I want you to see it standing first, okay? So no weight is gonna be on your leg that's dangling. And if you put your hands on your hips, you'll notice that the leg that's dangling, the hip is lower, right? And so what you're gonna do is keeping both legs straight. Can you lift that outer hip up by pressing down into the block and then let it dangle again? You don't step down, you don't land. You just let it dangle and then you bring it up and then you let it dangle. Don't bend that standing leg though, okay? So don't bend the standing leg as you do this. It's just a very small, it's a pelvic lift. It's a very small hip movement. Yeah, and you'll start to feel it hopefully in your standing leg, hip, and leg. You guys getting that? Yeah, good, you guys. Okay, I just want you to get this feel. You can turn around and do it on the other leg, okay? Just doing a few. Now, if it hurts your back today to be folded forward, you're gonna do this some more in a moment, okay? Those of us that can fold forward are gonna do it a little differently. You're trying this side, remember both legs stay straight. You're just lifting the outer hip up, even with the inner hip, and then letting it dangle again. Without putting it on the floor. All right, and then let's step down. So if it hurts to fold over, you're gonna do that same, you're gonna do it that same way again, okay? Otherwise, what we'll do is we're gonna do it using the seat or the back of the chair. Okay, I'm gonna show the seat, and I'm sorry, I'm gonna have my behind to you guys at home. I'll turn around, I have my mat set up weird today. So in this one, I'm going to keep, you see how my spine is trying to be in neutral. So therefore I might need to be here instead, right? A little higher up, might keep my back in neutral. And I'm gonna do the same thing. Okay, I'm just doing the same thing. My hip's going a little higher than the other hip. So I'm also kind of knocking my teacup off a little bit. If it hurts to fold forward, you can fold forward less, or you can do it standing. So you've got one foot on, right? You're folded forward. Let's get long through the spine. And then let's just try it. Lifting up, letting it dangle. Lifting up, letting it dangle. And maybe you can notice that that low back area or the sacrum area is tilting up. Let's get you a little closer to your chair, Karen, so that you're, standing legs should remain straight. Yes. Well, you could bend it a little bit in this one because it's using a lot of hamstring flexibility, right? So it's hard to keep it straight. Let's try bringing your chair up, and that might help you, right? So you don't have to lean forward as far. Yeah, that's great. Yes. Try to keep your weight. It can be centered on this one, just not on the ball of your foot only. Okay, now we're gonna change it, you guys. Could you stay folded forward, but inhale, take that leg back behind you so you're in a modified warrior 3 pose. So your chest is long or your spine is long. Good. This will be our inhale. It goes straight back. On the exhale, we're going to bring the leg forward, rounding the spine. And for those of us with the seat of the chair, we're going to take the leg under the seat if you can. And then inhale, extend again. Spine goes forward, so you get long. And then exhale, round, bring it forward. For those of you with back stuff, if any of these movements feel like not so good, then you could just hold warrior 3, right? And stay there. As you take it back and forward, you're keeping your hips square. So when you go back, you're not opening the hip up to the side. It's just going straight back. And let your spine round when you come forward. That's a rounding moment. So you're rounding, letting that spine flex if it feels okay in your back. Are you guys feeling this work your left hip? Yeah, that's where you're feeling it. That's where you're standing leg hip. Yes, yes. Okay, now you guys, good work. Let's keep your foot on the block and put the other one on the floor. We're going to do an asymmetrical forward fold. So we're going to let the standing leg, the one on the block, bend and see how it feels to fold forward like this. You can use the chair, you can use the floor, whatever feels right to you, and breathe. Again, if it's bothering your back, just stand upright and breathe. The block knee is bent. Good. How does this feel on this side of your sacrum? Like, yes, it is interesting. I know it is interesting, right? And it might feel better on one side than the other, right? Like for me right now with this little injury, it feels better on one side to have that sacrum side lifted. Okay, now let's do symmetrical. So just take your foot off the block, put the foot down, feel that, and then inhale, extend your spine forward. Exhale, bend the knees, and inhale, let's rise up, reach up. And exhale, arms down. All right, same thing, other foot, right? So one foot on the block. You don't have to fold if it's not working for your body. Okay, we're gonna exhale, fold if it does. Trying to keep extension through the spine for the pelvic lifts. Both legs straight on this one. We're gonna lift the dangling leg hip up and then let it dangle again. And we're just doing this part until you get some fatigue in the standing leg hip. You know, until you start to feel it. And you're noticing what's happening with your hips. Can you put your mind and awareness there and just feel it? Okay, once you get that fatigue going, then take that leg back. So now you're in a modified warrior 3. Hips are square to the floor, spine extends forward, breathing. Good. Inhale, this will be our inhale position. And then on the exhale, you're gonna let the spine round, flex the spine, and you can bring the leg forward any amount, maybe under the chair, and repeat, going at your own pace. Going slowly to notice how this feels through your back. And if you can, when you go back, you're keeping that teacup balance. So you're not opening the hip to the side. That'll give you more strengthening in your standing leg hip. And if any of the positions bother your back, you're coming out and you're taking a break, and it's information for you. Okay, so we're really trying to fatigue it here. So that might be different amounts for different people, okay? Once you've reached that point, you could come into your asymmetrical forward fold, bending the knee on the block, placing the other one next to it, and folding downward, either chair or floor. Taking an inhale and exhale out your mouth, noticing how this side feels. And if it doesn't feel right, just come into symmetrical or stand up. right? Always listening to your body here and gathering information for yourself. When you're ready, let's find the symmetry, taking both feet to the floor. Let's inhale and hands on the chair or your legs. Let's take our feet wide. And so everybody's going to be different here. You might have your hands on the seat of the chair. They might be on your block or the floor. You might have forearms on the seat of your chair, right? And all I'm going to do is shift my hips. So if you imagine, everybody reach your chest forward to start, okay? Now, if you imagine you got your teacup here, you're now going to let it tip. You're going to take your weight to one side, lifting one side of your hip, and then the other side. It's a small little shift. If you've got knees bent, you're keeping them equally bent. Yeah, that's it, you guys. You got it. I really like this one for releasing tension around that sacrum area. And for noticing, you know, where am I tight? What's going on in here? Oh man, this class just flies by for me. I really want to do this wall thing, and I'm wondering if we have the time. Okay, we're gonna do it. We're gonna inhale, reach your chest forward. Exhale, bend the knees. Inhale, rise. Reach the arms up. And exhale, arms out and down. Okay, now for this one, you want to place wall or mirror where you can put your foot on it, okay? Mirrors work. The door works, but only in the solid places, of course, Diane, right? Or even the door edging. Jenny, you could use this one right here. You'll have enough space. And so find a space. Now, if you don't have a wall space and you're at home, some people don't have good wall spaces at home, you could use the chair for this, okay? You could. Let me show you what it looks like. So you guys at home, imagine I have a wall here. I'm gonna use my chair as if it were the wall. I'm gonna take my foot to the wall with it flat on the wall, no higher than the height of my hips. It might have to be a lot lower than the height of your hips, okay? Because you're gonna try to keep that bottom leg straight. So you stick it there, and we're gonna try to even out the hips. Your back heel is right below your hip, okay? Just try that to start, right leg, okay? And I'm gonna talk you through the rest. I'll move this. Yeah, okay, good. How's that going so far, everybody? Can you get your foot flat on the wall? No, that's okay. You don't have to. You can also use the chair, right? You can also put foot heel on chair. All right. Now, if you're really tight in your hamstrings, your leg might need to be a lot lower than your hip. That's fine. Okay. Now, can you try? Yeah. Now, can you try untucking your tail? So your tail, it's like you're sending it to the center of the room. Good. Good. And just breathe. Can you stand tall? Isn't this amazing how much harder than this looks? How much harder it is than it looks, right? Yeah, that's because it's just because you're tight back there. That's okay, Diane. You don't have to have it flat. Okay, no worries. Okay, now if you want to, you could try inhaling, reaching arms up, and exhale, you might be able to twist toward your right, taking your left hand to your leg and your right hand either to your hip or the center of the room behind you, whichever feels better. Good. Can you keep lowering your right hip? So it's like we're trying to have even hips. That's it. And this is like we did on our backs at the beginning when we took the leg across our bodies. Okay, one more breath. You guys are doing awesome here. Yeah, this is such a tight move. I know. And now from here, exhale back to the center and inhale, reach your arms up. Yeah, you got it, Jenny. Here we go. And then exhale, let's lift the leg off the wall and down to the floor. Shake it out a little bit. All right, you can even hop it out. All right, other side. So you're gonna inhale, stand tall, facing the wall or chair. Exhale, bend the left knee and then try to straighten it out onto your wall or chair. It's okay to have that upper leg a little bent, you guys with tight legs, okay? But try to face, the one thing you do want to do is try to face the wall with both hips straight. Yes, that's it. You got it. Okay. You all right? Good recovery. Yeah. And keep breathing, right? So here we're just noticing, can you untuck your tail? Like send it to the center of the room. Can you stand tall? Can you press, if you're using the wall, really press into the wall and press into the floor and grow taller? Good. Keep breathing. Nice, you guys. Can you lower your left hip so that it's the same height as your right hip? Good. Nice, everybody. Inhale, arms could go up maybe. And exhale, twisting toward the left. Your right hand could come to your left leg. Left hand could come to hip or reach behind you. And breathe, noticing. Right? Good. Keep breathing. Try to let go of tension in your jaw and neck. And then when you're ready, exhale to untwist. Inhale, arms go up. Exhale, engage core, step down. Good. Nice, you guys just kind of wiggle around, shake it out. Good work. You can get rid of your chair unless you want to use legs over chair at the end. Okay. If that's something you like, you can keep it there. We're going to come toward the front of our mats here. You guys still see me at home? Let's see. Okay. And inhale to reach it up. Exhale, you can fold and come into possibly a squat here. This is something I can't do right now from that injury I mentioned. So you could come all the way down, right, into Malasana like we did last week, or you could stay lifted, or you could even, this is what I would do today, sit on 2 blocks. And just feel the evenness of your sacrum here. Okay. Good. Keep breathing. Another breath. Good. And then slowly coming down to the floor. So you can use your hands. You could sit down if that seems possible for you. And we're going to come onto our backs. Face whatever direction you want and have your blanket and your block close by. Following your breath in and following your breath out. So we've been working a lot with this sacrum and pelvis area today. I didn't talk a lot about the philosophy or anything like that, but let's come back to that area in the belly. So when you breathe in, maybe you could feel your breath going down to that area. You might even put your hands there. And then breathe out through your mouth, like you're blowing out through a straw slowly or with a sigh. Good, and again. And we can get really bound up in this area with tension. It's a power center, this area. All your reproductive organs for women. I think we're all women in the entire group. And for men, right? This whole area. So there might have been surgeries in this area for you. There might have been emotional stuff in this area. Just notice your ability or inability today to focus in on this area of your body. You might just pose the question to yourself, are you letting yourself fully experience your emotions in your body? A lot of times we constrict against our emotions. It's just a normal defense thing. So can you allow yourself to soften and be with whatever is present for you today? And now from here, you could do any movement you want to do. So I'm going toward happy baby pose for me, bringing my knees up and in, wrapping my arms around the outer knees or grabbing feet and rocking. You might prefer a twist or a knees to chest or a legs up the wall or even another supported bridge pose. That's why I had you get that block there. So if you want to support your hips up on your block, you could. And if there's any other movement your body wants to do before Shavasana, feel free to do that now.